Hello ladies and gentlemen, Xentor here and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video we're going to be trying to cover whether Infinite Flight Pro is really sort of worth it in 2025. So hopefully I'm going to be able to cover the basis of the majority of all the features you get compared to when you don't have Pro, and really just have a quick look around the globe and see why it's worth it. So I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at all the aircraft you get. So when you don't have Pro, I believe you have access to the A321, the 737-700, maybe what else do you get? I think you get the 747 or one of them, and you also get perhaps a few other like general aviation aircraft, maybe the 208 Caravan or something. So you get a few of them, and obviously I don't think you get any of these. So you really, with Pro, you get a lot more aircraft. Now you're paying $10 a month or whatever, which is still a considerable amount of money. However, if you're flying 10 hours a day, if you're doing overnight long hauls, the maths really does come down to it. So if you're flying, let's say, 25 days a week for a 10-hour flight, that's 250 flight hours. Okay, so then 250 flight hours, you're spending £10, and then all you have to do is the maths. You divide it by the flight hours, and then you get how many? So you're paying 4 pence per hour. So, or 4 cents depending on your currency. So you're not paying a lot of money per flight hour. So the more you play the game, the more it's worth your money. So let's take the newest aircraft, the 737 MAX for example, and let's just look at all the deliveries they have. They're all in utmost quality. You got a vast majority. It depends where you like to fly or who you like to fly with, for example. And there are some random or less popular airlines, shall I say, or less known, like A Sky. Perhaps Cayman Airways, maybe not many people would have flown or heard of them before. You got Flair Airlines, so there's a few others on here, but let's go with Ryanair because they are on here, and they being one of the most famous airlines in the world. That's Royal Air Maroc, and let's just go have a look at an airport. So I've chosen London Luton, and I'm going to go on the online server as well, just to give people a little idea. So obviously you can change the time of day, so you can also fly anywhere in the world. So we'll just zoom out on the map for an example, and you can fly literally anywhere in the world on this. Okay, so for example, you got Hawaii, you got all these little airports. You got America, the Americas, you got Europe, South Africa. Now these are the transatlantic paths. You might have seen, if you ever got on Flight Radar and you've seen aircraft flying about, when they go across the Atlantic, they all go in straight lines, and these are the straight lines. So obviously when you do your flight plan, you add that onto your flight plan. And then obviously you'll see the 3D next to some of these airports have 3D. So that's Stansted. We're at Luton right now. Here's Heathrow. And I'll go into the green bit in a second. But yeah, so the 3D means it's a 3D airport. And that basically means that it's in the name. It's a 3D constructed airport. So this is sort of what you're looking at. You've got buildings and all that. And then when we come to the aircraft itself, which we haven't even covered yet, you can add your ground services. And they come up to the aircraft. So this is your luggage, and you've got the little luggage hold in the aircraft. It's empty. And you got the engines as well, which look extremely realistic, and then you got the catering service. Okay, and with the aircraft itself, you can go inside it. Now this is for select aircraft, and there is an interior cabin. This one's probably maybe a bit more comfortable than you get on a Ryanair plane, but that doesn't matter. They're about getting A to B, not comfort. So yeah, and in fact, it looks like, yeah, you don't even get a tray table on Ryanair, I don't think. So yeah, so that's your Ryanair aircraft, for example. Now, obviously, all aircraft have an interior cabin. Now, another big feature in Infinite Flight that you get in Pro aircraft is this thing that we now call a live cockpit. Now, this is the top end of Infinite Flight, this cockpit, and we can turn on the battery and the auxiliary power unit. Obviously, if I move the throttle, you can see all of that kind of stuff. You can see the flaps moving. And we'll just give it a second for the screens to come on, because that's what I've just done. I've just put on the screens, and we're going to detach all of this as well. So, it's initializing, please wait, it's just turning on. And what you'll be surprised to see is that on all the screens you get all your data. There we go. So this is all real time, by the way. This is your navigation, which you have access to change, so you can zoom out, you can change the arc, you can change it from that to an arc, you can change all of this on it. Maybe this wasn't the best, maybe this, oh sorry, this is the screen, so you can change how far zoomed in you are, and that should go to the arc, so you can change all of that. And your flight plan will actually come up on it. So if I just do a stupid little flight plan quickly, and you'll see, look, boom, it comes up in here and your navigation. So that's really cool. So let's push back, so you can then, another good feature, one of my favorite features, you can do an automatic pushback, so you don't even have to do anything right now. It will automatically do it for you, and it'll push everything back for you, etc. So that's really cool. And then when you start an engine, so we'll start engine 2 here, you now actually see like the proper sequence of events of the engine. It's starting to turn, it's starting to wake up. While that one's still dead, or idle shall we say, this one is still moving up. So there we go. And then obviously it starts moving really quickly. So that's sort of what you're seeing with the aircraft. The aircraft are all top quality, very good. Obviously you have access to air traffic control when you're online. So currently this is just talking, but some people, such as Heathrow, so where it's green, there's an actual person right there controlling the aircraft, giving out instructions, clearing takeoff, clearing landing, and doing the rest of that kind of stuff. So that's sort of what you got going on the live servers here at Infinite Flight. Now you can also control air traffic control yourself. So we can go onto ATC here on training, and let's say, I don't know, let's go back to here. I can control tower, the approach or whatever. So let's choose tower for just a quick example, and you can see here, look, I'm in the tower. Obviously there's no aircraft about, unfortunately, but yeah, so you can look about. I don't think there's anyone actually headed here right now, unfortunately, but it doesn't really matter, does it? But yeah, so that's sort of what you get there. So you get a lot of live aircraft, you get a lot of people about, and it's just, all in all, it's pretty good. So the real question is it worth your £10 a month? Well, like I said, if you're flying for 10 hours a day, 25 days a month, that's 4 cents an hour, which is pretty minimal. So I'd say as long as you're flying a fair few hours a day, on average, I think it is worth it. It's definitely worth it. It's probably one of the best out there for mobile users. It doesn't really, compare to the PC level, and it never will really, being a mobile game. But yeah, I think there's a lot of work for them still to do, and there's a long way for it still to go until it gets anywhere near being proper like clear of all competitors. But I think it's good. For me, it's always been the option I've gone with for mobile flight simulators, and I've never really looked about because they've sort of satisfied majority of the requirements that I have. But I think there is still a long way to go, and I do think it is kind of worth it, I suppose. I'm not going to say it's not worth it. There are definitely some much worse aircraft, such as, let's take the A340 quickly and go in single player mode, and you can just, you can really see what some of the other aircraft are like. I don't want people to think that all aircraft are as nice as the one I just showed them, because here is the interior of the other one, and it doesn't even have live screens, for example. And when you go, inside the aircraft, look, there's nothing there, and the engines are nowhere near as nice. They're a lot blurrier. So I think there is also that to take into consideration as well, that not every aircraft is happy. So okay, so yeah, so I would definitely recommend it. It's a good thing. Maybe try it for a month. I wouldn't recommend any long-term memberships at first, but if you definitely play it for a month or two, like quite religiously, then I would recommend the longer-term subscriptions. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know down below, and hopefully I can see you all in my next video.